Welcome to the Business of Beautiful Spaces, a podcast that's specifically for interior designers and decorators. This is the podcast for designers and decorators who love creating beautiful spaces, but also know that building a profitable business is what makes it all sustainable. Hi, I'm Laura Thornton, and after nearly 30 years in the interior design industry and building a seven-figure design firm, I know firsthand how lonely it can feel running your own business. Making big decisions without a boardroom, without a business partner, or another executive team member to walk things through. That's exactly why this podcast exists. Think of me as your interior design bestie, the place you come for honest conversations, real action items, and a clear to-do list that you can apply today to move the needle forward and improve your bottom line. And if you can't get the answers you're looking for here, one-on-one mentorship with me is always available because no designer and decorator should have to figure this out alone. My goal with every episode is simple: to help you build a more profitable, confident design business and propel you into sustainable, successful future. So let's dive in. Hey, welcome back to the Business of Beautiful Spaces. I'm your host, Laura Thornton, founder and creative director of Thornton Design, and the host of this, the Business of Beautiful Spaces podcast. And today we're going to do a Q1 review. Now, let's not make it like vision board and let's light a candle review. I mean, real CEO review, the kind that makes you more profitable, more efficient, and a lot less likely to find yourself ordering dinner at 9:17 while answering client texts with one eye open. And listen, you don't need to have an MBA for this. You just need to be willing to look at what actually happened in your last quarter and decide what you're keeping, what you're changing, and what we're going to make way easier in Q2 and beyond. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what to review in your interior design or decorating business and what to dig into deeper for next quarter and how to set goals for next month and the rest of the year. So if you are serious about profitability and efficiency, grab your matcha, grab your coffee, or because we're going to talk about numbers, maybe it's wine or vodka for you, but let's do it. So how to set up your review. This is the framework. This is what you're going to review. You're going to review your revenue. You're going to review your profit, your time and capacity, the pipeline, pricing and scope, operations and systems, and your client experience. And here's the rule. What we're not using is shame. We're going to use data. And this is not, why am I like this? This is not, what is the business telling me? You're the CEO, and we're collecting information and making decisions based on data. Okay, category 1, which was revenue. What came in and where did it come from? I want you to look at it in the way that actually helps you. So what you're going to review booked versus revenue collected, because booked revenue is exciting, but collected revenue is what pays your bills. Revenue by service type. What's bringing in the most revenue for you? Is it your full service? Is it your consultations? Is it e-design? Is it procurement? Whatever you offer, what is bringing in the most revenue? Revenue by client type. Ideal client versus I had a feeling but ignored it clients. Revenue by lead source. Where did the best projects come from? Now, what should you look for? If you booked revenue, and if your booked revenue is high, but your cash feels tight, that's a cash flow problem, and it's very, very common, and the collection timing issue, not a let's work harder issue. So we need to look at how we're collecting our revenues, our deposits, if you use retainers, whatever that is, and that clearly needs to be adjusted. So that is one very common element I do and talk about a lot with in mentorship here at the Business of Beautiful Spaces. And I will ask you to look at, what is your fee structure? What does your contract say? Can that be amended? If you are somebody who uses a retainer, you need to adjust maybe how much of that retainer you're getting or making sure you're on it. If you're flat rate, same thing. I'll tell you what we do here. It is a flat rate and it is collected upfront for design. We do not start any project until it is fully paid. So we are not out any money at any time with our design fees. Our next part of our process, let's say it's procurement, if they are purchasing furniture from us and finishes, we take a 75% deposit at time of order, and then we collect the balance 2 weeks prior to delivery. We actually won't even set the delivery date until we actually have that money. And just as if your client went to a big box store, they would have had to have paid in full at time of order, not a deposit. So we take all of that up front. So at no point should we be having a cash flow problem? Because that project should be covered. Of course, there is other things that pop up in the year. I understand that. But that is something that you can count on having everything paid for. And most times, whatever that balance is your profit. So you're still making sure everything is getting paid for. So that's one little nugget that we need to look at. We need to look at where is the cash flow and collection timing issue. You don't have to keep taking on more projects potentially, which is great if we have that problem, but you want to make sure that how you're collecting your fees is not leaving you scampering to get the next deposit to pay Peter to beg from Paul to give to, you're getting my point. Okay. So if one service is bringing in the most revenue, I want you to ask yourself, is it also bringing in the most profit? Because those are two different things. You could sell something for $100,000, but it cost you $99,000. So you're only making $1,000. You could have a room that costs $50,000 to install, but you're making $15,000 in profit. That is more profitable. Might not be as high in revenue, but it's a much more profitable model for you. So that's what I need you to figure out. I need you to figure out which projects and which services are bringing in the most revenue. And are they also bringing in the most profit? Because revenue without profit is just keeping yourself busy. So if your best clients came from one or two sources, that's your signal for Q2 that is where you're going to double down. That's the goal. We need to get many more of that project. So let's talk about number 2, which is the profit review. And this category is what changes everything. Now, profit, this is where business becomes sustainable or not. So I want you to review your gross profit, especially on procurement. Know your margins, protect your margins. I want you to know your net profit. That's what's left over after expenses, not what you hoped for. Profit per project. Which projects were actually profitable and good? And I want to know your profit per hour. And yes, I know designers hate this one, but if you know profit per hour, you're no longer guessing. The guessing game is super expensive when you don't know your numbers. So here's what I want you to look for. Which projects made you money and which felt good and smooth? And those are your best business signals. Which projects made you want to move into a different industry? Those are also signals, just really, really louder. We've all done it. I know I've done it too. Like, why the F am I in this business? I've done it a million times. And then, a week later, you feel good about it. So those are the things that you need to be paying attention to as well. And if you had projects where they're certainly beautiful, but not profitable, we have to be honest about the why. Was it underpricing? Was it too many revisions? Was it deficiencies? Was it scope gap? Was the procurement without enough margin? Was it too many meetings? Was it chaos? Were we part of that? So you really need to break those down and to see how you can get more efficient so that they become more profitable. And profit problems are usually a process problem. That seems to be gleamingly clear in many scenarios, and we all know it. It's just a matter of making sure we're acknowledging it and making the change so we don't do it again. We're not repeating it. And that's the good news because your process can be fixed. All right, 3, time and capacity review, where your hours actually went. So this category is what tells you if your business is efficient. So we need to look at hours spent by phase. I know you've heard me preach it. You have to be tracking your hours. You need to know if it was in the concept, design, documentation, procurement, install, where are the bulk of your hours going? And did you allot the right amount of hours when you were projecting what this was going to take you? Where projects got stuck. It happens often. We all have scenarios. We all have things that spring up on us. But was it at the approvals? Was it decisions? Was it missing information? Was it delayed trades? Was it late deliveries? Was it out of your control or was it in your control? How often are you reactive? If your day is mostly surprises, we need more structure. You need to start time blocking. You need to protect your time. If you have a team, who is doing what? And where are the bottlenecks? Very important to your process, very important to knowing where your time is going. Now, get a quick gut check here. If you were designing at night because your day was full of meetings, and that's okay, we've all had those days. But if this is your regular situation, then we have a problem and that's not normal and it's not sustainable. So that might be a clue. We need to figure out how we can change that. If it's temporary, we all have busy months where things, change, that's one thing. But this is all the time, then it's time to start looking at where there's a problem. Also, I want you to notice where you are doing work more than once. Sometimes it's twice, sometimes it's 3 times. If that's happening, we have a process problem. So rework is one of the biggest profit leaks in a design and decorating business. And if you fix nothing else this year, let's fix the rework, which means processes. They usually go hand in hand. So number 4 is a pipeline review. This is your sales support. Let's face it, running your own interior design business can feel overwhelming. But guess what? You don't have to do it alone. I am so excited to introduce a brand new way to get the support you need. One-on-one mentorship with me, Laura Thornton, your interior design bestie. In just one focused hour, we'll dive into whatever you need most, whether that's pricing strategies, client management, presentations, attracting clients, building up a repeat business, or just getting out of the hamster wheel. You'll get clarity, strategy, and expert advice based on my 28 years of running a thriving business and over the last decade, a 7-figure design firm. This is your chance to get real answers to the questions you've been dying to ask from someone who's actually been there and is currently still walking the walk. Book your session as you need it. There are no strings attached. You'll walk away with personalized, actionable advice that you can implement right away. One-on-one, 1-hour sessions as you need it. Head to the website or click the link in the show notes to book your mentorship session, and let's build a beautiful, profitable business that you've been dreaming of together. Or, is it supporting your life or is it stressing you out? So we need to review the leads that came in during Q1. And I'm hoping you're tracking them. I did a whole episode back in year 1 or in year 4, which is absolutely wild. But I did do back in year 1, we did a whole thing about how to track. We did a whole podcast about how to track your incoming leads. Now, of course, if you have CRM systems, great, that's doing it for you. And if not, if you have a sheet, I know that in our Profit Academy for Interior Designers, it's one of our free downloads. But it is something that you can use and manually track so that you know where you are if you have a system for tracking leads, making sure you're following up, how many emails you've sent them, the dates that they can go in, how you found that lead, like lots of information there. So if that's something else, if you haven't been doing that yet, please make sure that you are. You want to track those leads. You want to make sure that you're nurturing those leads. You want to add them to your email list if you have one for any newsletters or blogs. And any consultations that you held, any proposals that you sent, all of this can be tracked. So if you're not using a CRM system, this is something that you can do manually. You want to know your close rate. You want to know how many leads came in and how many you actually got and how far in your, hopefully your process or your funnel, your sales funnel of how many you were able to close so that you can start seeing your close rate. And then from that, what was the average project size? How long does it take to go from the inquiry to the signed contract? And if it's really long, maybe that's something we work on for Q2 to shorten that up, to secure that work. Do you have welcome guides? What's your process looking like that you're trying to woo and wow this potential client? So how long does it take from the inquiry to signed contract is a really good item to be tracking. And what is booked for the next 8 to 12 weeks? So this pipeline review is going to tell you if your leads are coming in, but you're not closing. Your sales process needs a little finessing. If you're closing, but your projects are too small to be profitable, your offers need some finessing. And if you're booked and profitable, but overwhelmed, then operations process, maybe some team members are something where you need some help. So the pipeline is not just about getting more leads. It's about getting the right leads, and it's about converting them into profitable projects. So 5, pricing and scope review, where profit quietly disappears and we're all like, how come my bank account, I'm working so hard, but my bank account isn't reflecting it? Okay, this is where we're going to talk about that. So which services were easiest to sell for you? And which services were or did create the most friction where you're like, I don't even want to do this? And your top scope creep patterns. Where do you find that every time you're like, how did I get into this predicament again? Or why did I open my mouth and say I would do that? So any contract gaps that caused any issues, anything where you realized you now were liable because you didn't have it in your contract, these should all be highlighted. And then I want you to ask yourself, where did the clients misunderstand me in the process that they thought that item might have been included or that they thought those services would have included X, Y, and Z? Where did I say yes too quickly before stopping and thinking? I did it yesterday. So like, again, I don't want you thinking I am like perfect over here, because I am not. I did it yesterday. I had a late meeting with a client. So I already did a favor where I was out of, my normal business hours that I agree to. But it was a real challenge to get our schedules to work. So I agreed to do it. It's a nice project, I'm not going to lie. So it also helped that I really wanted to lock this down before the end of March. So I chose to do that, but it was almost past my bedtime, which is not good for anybody, right? Like you're not really in the best mind frame. And the client asked me a question, and we have a bit of a push because we're trying to lock this down before a certain date where everybody got the same email. So everybody is getting, panicked and going out to all their clients and saying, if we don't order this by this day, I have to reprice you, and it's going to be higher. So of course it's going to be incentive for our clients to go ahead and book, which, by the way, is some of the best weeks I've ever had. But it comes with, yes, revenue, but it comes with pure panic and pure like, we got to get these numbers out. We got to get these orders in. And of course, when you're doing things in this mode of like panic to save money for everybody else, we end up making mistakes, right? So that's not where I was going. That's just a little added benefit. Of course, there is some mistakes there too. But what I wanted to say was what I said to the client. He asked me a question, and my response, well, of course, that won't change timeline. And then I was like, okay, hang on, pump the brakes. You know what? I'm going to get back to you tomorrow on that, because if I'm doing this with 12 clients, there's bigger firms doing it with more clients. There's smaller firms doing it for their clients. There's all the solopreneurs doing it. Like there's a lot of people that are crunching now to get these orders in. Maybe it very well change my timeline. So before I speak out of turn, let me confirm that tomorrow. And so I had to stop myself, which, at least I thought about it for a second. But if I was on my game in the middle of the day, I would have said that initially, but we've all done it. So I would have said yes, 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 and then disappoint them. So we've all done it. So it's not something where, I don't want you to think that I'm just pointing the finger and saying it's not, but we all do it. I still do it. I do it because I want to make my clients happy. And I do it because I want to solidify the sale. And I do it because I want the next project in the pipeline. We all do it. All this to say, I do the same things too once in a while. So it's hard to talk ourselves out of it. However, we have to stop ourselves and have to ask ourselves, why did I do it? How am I going to unteach that? So now I have to add that into my closing. When I'm dealing with my clients, sometimes it's not as easy peasy as, yes, we're good to go, sign off. There's always questions. So now I have it in my list to explain that I will confirm in the next few days the timelines if there's been any shifting. So I added that into my process and my script. So now I have that. So I'm sorry that I went a little rogue there, but that's something that I want you to stop sponsoring your clients too, and maybe add some of this into your process or your script when you're closing a project so that you don't fall into that same trap that I do. Anyway, you are not a nonprofit organization. All of this to say that you are a premium service provider. So I don't want you to stop, helping your clients, making them happy, but I do want you to stop sponsoring your clients with your bank account. So scope will give you clarity. Clarity is kindness to you and to your mental health, and for you and for your clients. So let's move on to 6, because I took way too much on 5. I apologize. So operations and system reviews. So I kind of just tackled this a little bit, but you want to have efficiencies that are on purpose. And this is what we call operations. So I need you to review your Q1, your project management systems. Are they working? Is there room for improvement? Is there a place where tasks go to retire? I have a pile on my desk. Maybe this is a podcast about like all the things that I do and need to work on for Q2 and didn't even know it. But I constantly have a pile of my papers that I need beside me to know that's my rhythm. That's what works. But then I take those and I have a bin on the floor that's where they go to retire. And I hope that someday somebody in this office is going to file them, which is not fair, I recognize. But that's my system, and that's what works because it gets off my desk and I know that it's living where it needs to be filed at some point, and somebody will have to do that for me at some point. So yes, I'm also a bit of an asshole, but that works for me. It's systems, whatever works for you. Where do these tasks go to retire? Is it working? Is it not working? Can you improve anywhere? And I'm not asking you in Q2 to like make all these changes. Every little small change makes a difference. It all adds up. It all helps your efficiency. It all helps your numbers. It all helps your profitability. So The next item is procurement workflow. Is there anything that was tracked cleanly and perfectly? And was there anything that wasn't? What is working cleanly? What items were like, this is great, everything's filled out, this clearly is working for us, and which one isn't? Can we change anything to make this that every month this is done properly or every quarter? Any client communication rhythms? Is there anything that you can be proactive on or constantly responding to emergencies? Anything that you can work into your systems that this will stop happening for you? Sometimes it's just, we just think that that's normal. And so we keep moving. And when we start building the systems in and you realize that it helps get rid of the chaos and it brings a much more calmer environment, we're more welcoming and inviting to doing more of it. But when we don't know the difference, we resist it because it's working and it's what I'm used to and that's fine. And I feel busy, so that feels good. But if you can take anything and introduce it in the next quarter and see what that does for your peace of mind, I would say give it a shot. You have nothing to lose and you have everything to gain. So the last one here is templates and any operation. So what exists? What's lacking? What needs to exist? And what needs to be updated? So these all kind of go hand in hand. And as you start tweaking one, you'll find that it will very easily translate into other places. And like I said, it'll bring a peace of mind and calmness to your project slowly but surely. Don't feel overwhelmed. Don't feel like you have to do it all at one time. But every little step definitely helps. Okay, so what is the key question in operations and systems review? It's what are you doing repeatedly that could be templated and written down and something that you can start to build your process. So if you ever want to bring another team member in, it's very easy for them to understand where we are in your processes. Templates are profits. I'm going to repeat it. Templates are profits. Operating systems are profit. A clean workflow equals profit. And if you want you want more margin, you might be thinking, oh, I'm drinking the vodka. I'm not. You need fewer decisions in your day, and systems will reduce those decisions. Number 7 was the client experience review. This is the part that's going to protect you, your business, and your brand, and also your sanity. And why it's important that we do this is we want to make sure and we want to review where our clients complimented us, where they felt confident, where they were confused and when they voiced it, and where you had to chase decisions or where boundaries were tested. If our clients are confused, it's usually because expectations were not set clearly enough or we're not communicating clearly enough. And that is a process that can be fixed. Now, we also have the clients that just don't listen and don't read the things that we send them, and we all have that as well. But you will know that as set apart from different, that if someone keeps coming to you and saying, just checking in with you where we are in our process or how many weeks this is or what day can we expect, there's something wrong. They shouldn't be reaching out to you. It means that they don't know where they are, what's happening. There should be something built into your system that protects them and will give them confidence that you are doing what you said you're going to do and that everything is under control. So whether that means that you have your weekly, I call them love letters to my clients. Every Thursday they get a love letter. They know where they're at. They know what's happening in their project, whether it's there's nothing happening, we're on schedule, we look forward to seeing you and designing your dream home or whatever, just to let them know that you're on it. You got it. There's no need to reach out to me unless you have a problem. Like, that's not what you're saying. You're saying reach out to me any questions you have, but really, it's going to bring sanity to them and they're not worried because you've got it under control. It's building confidence. And if I could tell you how many times I've heard my clients say to me that we told them that like there wasn't even a worry. We knew every week you were going to check in and that if anything was up, you were going to tell us. And they looked forward to that every Thursday. They knew it was coming and it set their mind at ease. And they would tell other clients that. So referrals were coming saying, we understand that every week and we've worked with other people who don't do that. And we love the peace of mind. So it'll be a game changer for you. But regardless, we don't want any questions coming about confusion. So your client experience should not depend on how much coffee we had that day. It should be designed. It should be integrated into our system so that our clients know what's happening. Okay. What do we want to dig into for Q2 and beyond? Now that we've had some lists of things to look at from Q1 and you've reviewed them and you're looking and doing the deep dive, you got to use this CEO framework each and every quarter, not just at the beginning of the year and just pray for the rest. We have to stop. We have to start. we have to continue, and we have to systemize. So every quarter, I would love for you to I would love for you to start implementing this into your CEO meeting with yourself. If you listen to the How to Make Your Business from a Hobbyist to a CEO recently, that podcast where we discussed like things that were going to change this mindset, going to change this business. For you, this would be it. You need to review your numbers. You need to know what's happening, and you need to review your business. And it's awful, and it's sometimes sucks to have to do it, but it's so imperative to grow that you have to do the deep dive. So if anything, I would recommend to you giving yourself, even if it's a half day or a full day, every quarter, at the end of the quarter, to give this gift to you of reviewing your numbers, hard facts, hard data, and seeing where you're at. It's going to give you a lot of clarity moving into the second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. I have my own meetings. I don't do it in my office. I actually take my laptop and I remove myself from home and office, and I go do it. Sometimes at a library, sometimes at a coffee shop. Sometimes I need it to be that there is no disturbances, that no one's asking me a million questions. My phone is on do not disturb, and I dive deep into this, and I'm very honest about my answers, and it really gives me clarity. Now, if you're into using some AI and your bots, or you have something where you might have a chat bot, you might have a GPT that you have your business coach built in, you could throw it into there and say, now assess this and tell me what you see. And that can be a very interesting feedback as well. Again, it could be ugly. Don't worry about it. We're working on it. That's what we're all doing. We're all working on our businesses as we keep growing and building and becoming more profitable. Okay. So I want you to stop underpricing early phases just to get the job. I did that in air quotes, not that you can see me. I want you to stop allowing unlimited revisions. You need to have something in your contract. Again, I'll share what we do here. We give a flat rate price. Again, I've been doing this a long time, so I have the data and analytics. So if you don't have the data and analytics, don't do that until you're very confident. But it includes one revision, and any revision after that is billed hourly. So we're protected. I've covered myself. And if they couldn't convey, or if they still don't like something, that's what was included. I've never had pushback. And they know that after that, it goes to hourly. It makes for very concise answers, and people get very specific. I want you to stop doing procurement without margin protection. Like if you have a deficiency and you have to replace that sofa, is there enough margin to not lose any money? Just for an example. Stop taking projects that do not meet any minimum profitable threshold for you. There is nothing to gain. It's not going to come down the road. You're not going to end up getting 10 friends that are going to pay that bill, because if they're going to tell their friends are going to be probably more than likely in the same category as them. And now they've told them what they've paid, and you're going to get the same cycle of clients over and over and over again. And I want you to stop being available all the time, because always available is not a luxury experience. It is just exhausting you. What I want you to start doing is tracking profit per project every month. I want you to start tracking profit per hour quarterly, enforcing those change orders if there is any. I want you to start batching meetings and client communication so that it makes it really easy for your schedule, and we're going to control some of the chaos. And I want you to start creating templates for proposals, onboarding, specs, checklists, install week plans, your photo checklist, like shot lists, anything that's going to make your job easier every time you repeat a task. You have something to reference. I want you to continue marketing those channels that now are bringing you your ideal clients based on the profitability that you just reviewed. You're wanting to continue services that are profitable and smooth, not just profitable, smooth. I want you to continue setting boundaries that protect your time and your clarity. And systemize. I want you to systemize a sales process, or your onboarding process, or your project delivery process, or your CRM, meaning you're tracking all of your potential clients that are coming in and how they're coming in. Is it Google? Is it your Instagram? Is it a referral? I want you to systemize your procurement workflow, or out of everything else, systemize your weekly CEO money meeting with yourself. Just pick one. Don't have to get overwhelmed. I'm not trying to add too many things on your to-do list. Pick one, and let's do that as a goal for Q2. And this is something that over the next 30 days, I think even if it's just thinking about it, let's just marinate on it. I want to tell you what to do. I'm not sticking a finger in you say, do this, do that, no one needs more things on their to-do list, but I think just think these things over. Here's what I want you to focus on: your financial goals. If you want to run a simple profitability snapshot, revenue, gross profit, net profit, no drama, just your numbers, Just take a look at them. Choose one profit leak that you can fix in the next 30 days. Is it revisions? Is it procurement margins? Is it underpricing design time? Let's see where that lands. 30 days. Maybe it's 2 or 3 projects, but it might just give you the confidence that by the end of Q2, you're starting to see some difference in your bank account. I want you to update one pricing element: minimum project size or design fee structure or procurement margin policy. See how that lands. Which one would you change? There's got to be something that just popped into your mind while I said it. Which one would you update? Is it just your hourly fee you need to up? It's been a while since you upped your rates and you're afraid to do it because it might scare somebody away. Try it out. Try it out. Let's see what happens. Okay, another goal, efficiency goals. Can we implement some client communication cadence? Is it maybe your love letter on Thursdays or a procurement workflow and tracking sheet? Can we create one template that saves you time every week, but also helps your clients in the end? Is that your proposal? Is it your welcome packet? Keep in mind, we offer a free welcome guide download for you. If you just want to go to the website, you'll see it there. Grab it. It'll help you whip through that faster. How about one design presentation format that you just copy and paste every time? You know where the paint goes. You know where the sofa goes. You know where the text goes. You just can plug and play. You don't have to recreate it every single time. How about a spec sheet? Is there a spec sheet that you just keep recreating every time? Can we make a template? Maybe it's in Canva. Maybe it's in Pages. Maybe it's in something Google-based that I don't use and don't know the name of. How about an install checklist or a deficiency checklist? Something that you know you're going to do every single time you have a project that can make you more efficient. Just one, even if it's just one in 30 days. So we're going to have one financial goal, one efficiency goal, and how about sales goals? Can we tighten up our consultation process or like something that makes it that you're closing them faster? Maybe it is a templates emails that you just have to send out, or if you do use CRM, you would already have that done. But maybe we're asking better questions. Maybe we can qualify faster. Maybe we can tell them that we can take 2 more clients this month, and if you sign up by this day, otherwise you need to wait till this day. Because I always find that urgency really gets people moving. How about we improve the follow-up? A simple follow-up sequence, like I was mentioning, emails, increase the close rate, and get you more of those leads closed. Okay, lastly, let's talk about potential capacity goals. So create a realistic 8-week capacity map for yourself, knowing the hours that you have in a week. Stop booking as if you have 3 versions of you, because we all do it. We're like, I can take it all. And delegate one task. Is it admin? Is it scheduling? Is it procurement? Is it invoice following up? Pick one. And if you have a team, that's easy to get rid of. And if you don't, is there something in your world? Is there a VA or is there something that can take that for you? Is it AI? Can you implement AI to save you time? Because that is a really easy way to start implementing AI. And don't worry, I know it's scary. I know that like everyone feels like they're falling behind. They're not. I just heard a stat the other day where like out of the 20 billion people in the world, and that might not be accurate, but let's just argument's sake, there's 1 billion people using AI. It's nothing. Like you're not behind. You're not behind. So take your time, figure it out, and we actually are creating a something here for that because we've been asked so many times, how am I using it? And I'm referencing it a lot, and you don't even realize you're doing it because it's so integrated into my day. So long story short, we'll be having a simple guide to interior designers using AI for their businesses. I'll let you know when that's coming down the pipeline, but it's really, really soon. Okay. So I know we just talked about Q1 and then we talked about a couple of goals for Q2, but let's just highlight high level here, goals for the rest of the year. So if you take profitability and efficiency seriously, and I'm assuming you are because you're hanging out with me every week and you are still listening to this podcast, here are some big targets. Profit goals. Set a net profit target percentage and set your owner's pay target. So, if you know what you want to be making for 2027, let's set that target based on these numbers so that by 2027, you can pull that salary for yourself. I also want you to think about how to build a cash reserve. This is what I call wealth in your business. I want every month of your operating expenses, I want you to charge or take a percentage of it and put it away. I want you to put it away and pretend it doesn't exist. And that is your future reserves for if you have downtime or if there's a bad month or a bad year or whatever the case may be. You need to start building up your cash reserve. So that is something that every year I score and I think about, and as the business builds and there's more staff and there's more overhead, that number unfortunately grows. So it gets really overwhelming. And then you can break that down by month. So don't feel like it's this big number that looms, but I would like for you to take a look at that and see so that you're hitting your goals this year to be able to support your life in 2027. How about pricing and offers? Let's do one full pricing review. Let's make sure that if the costs are going to change or your time changes, that your pricing is keeping up. Things are shifting. We are in a weird time right now. Every month we turn around, something is more expensive. Now it's going to be gas and oil, and our furniture foam is already going up. So these are the things I need you to take a look at, because if you're not taking a look at it, you're actually absorbing the hit. You are going to be absorbing that out of your profits, and that's not the way it should go. So if you have to refine your offer, this is the time to do it, and look at that for the year. So also for the year, delivery and operations, reduce revision cycles. Maybe take a look at your contract. You might want to adopt the one is included and then it becomes an hourly rate. But this should be part of your process. It should be part of what you're talking about with your client, and it should be part of your contract. I want you to shorten up your timelines by removing bottlenecks. If you knew that right now it's taking you 8 weeks to produce a living room from day of contract to presentation, that could be done in 4 to 6 weeks. If it was more efficient, then you're getting multiple more projects in at the end of the year, which only helps you and your timeline and your bottom line, which is your profits. So we want to shorten up all those timelines by removing those bottlenecks. How are we going to do that? I need you to look and do a deep dive in that over the year. You still have 3 full quarters to go. So don't feel like this is a lot. This is over the year. Also, build in your installation playbook, or something that one thing that you can take with you that, check marks, you feel like you're confident when you're walking into your installs or you're walking into your installation day, or whether that's a photo shoot or whatever the case may be. Okay, marketing. I want you to commit to one primary platform, build an email nurture system, create one lead generator per quarter. Is it a guide, a webinar, a checklist, a challenge, or something repeatable? These are things that are going to really help your business. And I would team leverage. If you have a team, there might be something where you need to clarify roles. Maybe you need to implement some items where your team members are having more reviews to make sure that they are being efficient. If you do not have a team and you feel like you could use somebody, maybe you look into exploring something like the VA, the virtual assistants, a couple hours a week, and see, or your accountant, or whatever the case may be. But these are things for the whole year. So we covered Q1. And you review your numbers. We covered what we can look into for Q2, and we did for the rest of the year. And if you do this every quarter, you'll be shocked of the things that you find and your efficiencies and what you've improved on and what you haven't. And I don't love giving homework, but if anything, pick one project from Q1 and calculate the profit honestly. Any mistakes, any deficiencies, any extra hours, and see what you were left with. I want you to identify one bottleneck that cost you some time. Write it down. Let's create a standard operating procedure to try to eliminate it. And set one boundary that protects your time and your margin. And if you ever want any help with the pricing side of things, keep an eye out for the Profit Academy. That's going to be running this month. We're going to be launching and having a webinar coming up, as well as where I go into the deep dive, like things like this. It'll be part of the Profit Academy for interior designers. This is where we really change our mindset into CEO reviews, into pricing and profitability, so that you can plan and really execute for the rest of your year. Okay. I know I say this every time, but a free way to support us in this show is by leaving us a rating, hopefully a 5-star rating on a review anywhere you listen to these podcasts. It really helps support the show, but also helps others find us. And if you are a longtime listener, if you would leave a review, that would be amazing. I'd love you forever. Not that I don't already do. And I hope you enjoyed your matcha or your coffee or your vodka or whatever choice it was for you today, because I know it's hard to look at these numbers and talk about your business, but it'll be a game changer. So I want to say thank you for listening. I really appreciate you listening, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good week.